Our housing market is facing a triple crisis. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because we're going to have a look at an article which is claiming that our housing market is facing a triple crisis. Frankly, I think it's facing only one crisis, and that's government intervention in the market. But, perhaps I'm in the minority there, or I suspect not. Now, before we go through this, I want to have a look at some current asking prices, but I should let you know I have set up and built my new computer, and I'm recording using my new sound setup, and everything's working. So while I'm working out the bugs, I'd appreciate it if you let me know if you notice any pops or sounds or issues from your end, because you know how it is. Flashing BIOS and getting computers working is always fun. So before we jump in, let's look at the current asking prices at a, city average and then including the regions. So the big kahuna is, what are we looking at? $1,050,000, 50,000, and three bedders, 971,000. I'm getting carried away, Florian. Two bedroom units, 580 grand, everyone. 580 grand. Even units are expensive. Now, if we go and have a look at national, including the regional, you can see, look, the fact that it's 682, it may seem like it's cheap or it's reasonable because we've looked at the huge prices in all the cities combined. But look at that growth. Look at that. This is why we're seeing all these articles of people just unable to afford anything, of the regions getting gentrified and people getting pushed out. It'll be interesting to see if those people who have moved to the regions, made the green change, can actually stay there long term, or if they're going to be pushed out as well. So you can see their prices are going up. Now, I just want to remind everyone, whenever we talk about property, whenever we discuss a crisis in housing, we need to remember the government came to the rescue big time. They've kept zombie companies alive through this last recession with changes to external trading while insolvent legislation. External administrations are lower than they have been during the normal times in our first recession in 38 years. You've got JobKeeper, nearly 9% of Victorians, or the Victorian workforce, were being supported by JobKeeper. If you add the civil servants to it, that's a lot of people being supported by the government. You've got juicing of the markets. You've got the cash rate as it crashed down. You've got home builders shooting up. You've got $88,000 in grants. You've got now another 25 grand in New South Wales. You've got 5% and 2% government loans. That's it, a 2% deposit. I was shocked at 5%, but 2%, we're not talking a lot of money here. You can scrabble 2% together pretty easy. And, long-term negative gearing. I'd say negative gearing is a manifestation of just how heavily taxed we are in this country. It's just nuts. We're taxed so much. And then you've got reduced housing supply. A few things are playing in part here. You've got councils just making it difficult. You've got the not in my backyard crowd, the inner city suburbanites living in $1 million homes, forcing local councils or pushing local councils to stop low-cost developments. Some people will intentionally vote for parties that are anti-development to ensure the value of their rents stays high. Then you've also got the loan deferrals. That surely kept some property from having to go onto the market. So let's look at, with that in mind, let's look at this triple crisis, everyone, here. So, Aussie housing market in a triple crisis, new report found. Australia's housing market is facing a triple crisis with one unexpected consequence of the rising home prices. This is written by Alexander Turner Cohen, or Alex. Australia's economy is in a triple crisis, prompting calls for a royal commission into the future of housing. A royal commission into the future of housing. Now, do we need a royal commission? I mean, I'm getting more and more skeptical of them. You're hearing all the rhetoric about bushfires now, all the environmentalists trying to use this tragedy, loss of life in people's homes for political purposes. If you go back to the Royal Commission they had 100 years ago, more than 100 years now, all the issues that it raised still existed today. Management, land clearing. Remember the nutters protesting land clearing or protesting back burning. There you go. So, I mean, royal commissions, hopefully, maybe it'll open up people's to the appreciation that the government is just juicing up the market. Somehow I don't think so. The reason why? Because Australia's property market is going so well. Huh? What? Why is that? That's not surprising. We know that. I've just shown you all the things they're doing to juice up the market, everyone. You've got Home Builder. It's the reason why it's a nightmare getting a quote for anything. You talk to people to try and get some work done, and they're telling you now we can't do it for 3 months. I'm not the only one reading the news here. Come on. When the pandemic broke out, economists warned prices were going to fall 20 to 25%. Now we're seeing rises of 20 to 25. Chris Leishman, Professor of Property and Housing Economics at the University of South Australia, told news.com.au. The fact that commentators switch their predictions so quickly shows how unstable the housing market is. Well, here's the thing. There's a few reasons. I suspect a lot of this because I was going through it all. Remember, we saw the RBA was modelling a 40% decrease. CBA, ANZ, they were all coming out with different numbers. They were projecting these numbers out and testing with their economic models what the impact could be. I suspect a lot of that was done for political purposes to bring in all of that, sweet government to the rescue stuff that we'd talked about before. You think about it, you get a conservative population or conservative vote base, we've got a conservative government, and you've got a bunch of people who don't want to see their houses go down. All of a sudden they'll become socialists. Spend, 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 comrade. Hand out the money. Das vidanya. So I have to be careful. I was almost going to swear in Russian. Anyway. A new report released on Tuesday, of which Professor Leishman is one of the lead researchers, found banks and government are responsible for fueling the frantic housing market. Oh, I hope that report wasn't funded. Here's another thing, too. Economists want to get publicity. I was talking to a mortgage broker friend, and he was telling me that a lot of these economists actually have a requirement to get attention for the organization's publicity. No different to academics, although I don't think newspaper articles count anymore. The report, titled Housing, Taming the Elephant in the Economy, interviewed a panel of 87 experts and has been a year in the making. I'll go through that. We'll go through that in another video. Among its findings were the number of homeowners under the age of 35 have halved since 95, while most properties continue to be in the hands of 65-year-olds or older. Yep. The professor said he is seeing evidence that people under 35 are giving up on buying a house as a result. Well, we've been talking about that for a year, or even longer than that. It's understandable. It feels hopeless. You feel overwhelmed. Why would you even do it? According to the research, the home ownership is now out of reach for Aussies under the age of 35. Australia is one of the most indebted developed countries, beating the US, UK, and Canada. The inequality gulf is widening as the housing market continues to surge. Australia's houses are taking on average just 32 days to sell as the economy recovers from COVID-19. News.com.au reported last week. Well, you've got to remember, housing, property is Australian gold here. This is what we're going to invest in. If you're worried about inflation in Australia, I cannot see anyone going into gold in Australia. And when I mean anyone, I mean normal people, okay? Not those of us that watch YouTube and watch the gold bugs, don't have a bank account, but determine your wealth by ounces, okay? If you're like that, I hate to say it, you're not a normie, okay? Sit down, it's okay. You can deal with it. But can you really see a normie going and buying gold or silver? They'll buy property. That's what Australians do, guys. So in some ways, I wonder how many people are worried, or I suspect they're worried about this inflation, all this money printing. The housing sector is fueling a problem threefold: creating an unstable economy, generating inequality, and perhaps most surprisingly, reducing productivity. Here we go. When the economy is booming, we see housing prices accelerate. That's the bit we already knew. In the report, we actually asked the question, is there a feedback loop in other ways? They indeed found a reverse feedback loop. Expensive houses are driving young professionals from the city into the outer suburbs or the regions to afford a house. As housing markets get more and more expensive, more productive workers are displaced, Professor establishments explained. Well, that's interesting, because I've been discussing our declining economic complexity in Australia for some time. And my argument was, what incentive would there be to invest in a business when you can just invest in a house and make more money? I'll bring this chart up here. And you can see over this period from 1999 to 2019, the decline in economic complexity of Australia. I did another video the other day, El Salvador, who have just accepted Bitcoin. Their economy is more advanced than ours with regards to economic complexity. A South American banana republic with about $6 billion worth of exports. Well, sorry, no, Central American, sorry. South Central American, Southern Central American. But there you go. My argument is, well, this is interesting. They're saying it's displacing workers away. I'd say it's also disincentivizing people from investing in businesses. Why are you going to do it? I was talking to a mate. He bought property for his business, and now it's skyrocketed. It's worth $2 million. So I said, oh, mate, you're a millionaire. Good work. Good work. You know? So the reports, and a lot less stressful than working in his business. Actually, it's not the only person I know. I know an industrial designer, and I think that's how he made a lot of his money. It wasn't in the industrial design. It was the the premises he bought for his industrial design studios, did them up really nice. He wrote it all off. He'd build things and attach it onto the building and then get R&D tax credits for it. And then he'd sell the building and make money. We're in the wrong game, people. Anyway, the reporter's authors are calling for a royal commission into housing and to expand the Reserve Bank of Australia's responsibilities to include house prices. We think the RBA's remit should be wider. It should include the housing market, the professor said. He is particularly concerned about interest rates, which are currently at record lows. It wouldn't take very much for a shift in interest rates to cause a great deal of harm in the housing system, he said. The report wants housing stimulus packages to switch from housing to the social rental sector, while the market is reevaluated. Oh, see, more calls for social housing. Social housing isn't the solution. Okay, this isn't about housing people. The government's intervention in the economy is not about housing people. They don't care about housing people. They just want to keep people working. That is all what they want. They want to keep people working. Because if you keep people working, you keep jobs, you keep employment, and you keep people from needing social housing. In the long term, what's going to have a better impact? Remember, the free money that they're stimulating the economy with, 15 grand, 25 grand, it disappears. You pay it all back in GST anyway, and you've got to deal with the price inflation that's occurred due to supply issues and demand issues because it's overheated by the government. So an explosion in house prices. The report's lead author, Professor Duncan McLennan, said something needs to be done. The recent explosion in house prices brings a fresh and troubling dynamic, he said. Rampaging price growth has returned to the larger cities and is now spreading to regional Australia. This is in part due to the pandemic-fueled work-from-home revolution, but it's also because so many younger Australians can no longer afford the life they want as homeowners in the larger cities. The elephant in the room. The report wanted to draw attention to the elephant in the room when it comes to buying a property. The housing system elephant is not only a beast now poorly grasped by policymakers, it is also one that is rampaging through the economy, it read. Well, an interesting take on this report, and I think we'll definitely have to go through that on this channel, everyone. But there we go. Nothing really surprising. I can't say any of us who've been watching the channel for some time, we've been looking at this for quite a while. And what are the solutions? They want to include it in the remit of the RBA, the Reserve Bank. Well, I would be, long term, I agree we need to find a way to get our obsession off property. I would look at trying divesting power away from the central bank and from the larger scales and looking at special economic regions. Really, I'd love to see a lot of the political power in Australia just go all the way down to a local city-state type of level where you have different regions with different legislation, laws, and experimenting with different economic ideas. Perhaps that's a little too brave for Australians, but we'd have to see. Because can you see the Reserve Bank, who are the masters at predicting wage growth, can you see them being masters at managing housing prices? What do you think, everyone? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on that one in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this episode. Oh, hang on, I'm just seeing a flashing on the screen. That's a bug. That's a bug with my new graphics card. Anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. If you're a fan of the channel and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. Take care, guys, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now. Nope, outro.